Welcome back to our Farmers Union Insurance Bison Basketball Tournament Preview Show. I'm joined right now by Tim Miles and Saul Phillips, two former Bison basketball coaches, moving on, chasing further dreams. Saul Phillips, before we went to break, Tim and I cut you off, but I did want to let you talk a little bit about Ohio.
Good move, by the way. Good move on that.
And how things are going out there as you start to try and create your next great program.
Well, it's done the same way everywhere. You get good players in, you teach them how to play, and eventually you win. I'm a much better coach with good players, and certainly you build it the same way you tried to build it at North Dakota State. Is
there some sort of, I mean, you look at it, Tim Miles, you saw NDSU through this D1 transition at NDSU. Saul, you took over and got the 2 NCAA appearances under your belt. Granted, one of those were probably Tim's guys, but and now you see Dave Richmond getting the 3rd in 7 years, 3 NCAA appearances by NDSU in 7 years. That's really impressive. Was there a blueprint, Tim? Can you kind of just talk about what it is about NDSU?
Well, basically, we just had to make sure we stayed ahead of UND. Sorry about that.
We could all agree on that one.
A good Fighting Sioux joke. But no, the recipe is really simple. Saul, first of all, I think that, you're as strong as the people that you work with. Like Saul talked about players, I'll talk about staff. I had a chance to hire Saul, who played for Bo Ryan and coached with Bo Ryan, and Saul's a great coach in his own right. I had Todd Coring with me. I had Dave Richmond. Craig Smith was with me, who's now the head coach at the University of South Dakota. We talked, Jaden Olson, who's there now, was with me out at Colorado State and Nebraska. There's been, we had Josh Vaughn, Freddie Coleman played for us. There's been a lot of guys that have been down the road that have coached that are great people, smart players. And the recipe is what Saul said. You surround yourself with great people, coaches and players that all have this common goal. And I always go back to the same saying. In the old Bison sports arena, in the old weight room, there were 2 Bison charging at each other, and it said, "Bring on the competition." And I always felt that was the essence of North Dakota State. I thought that was the essence of the Fargo-Moorhead community, the university, the team makers, and the athletes and coaches.
Saul, when you are looking at this, Dave Richmond, one of 47 new Division I men's basketball coaches this year. You're one of them as well, took over at a new school. Just 2 of those 47 made it to the NCAA tournament. How hard is it truly? Can you put that in perspective to make this tournament?
Well, ask Northwestern how hard it is to make the NCAA tournament. It's difficult. Ask University of North Dakota how easy the transition's been. It's hard, but at the same time, and I think Tim hit on it, we were set up for success by what we were surrounded by, sans the lavish BSA that we played in, but literally every other component with Gene, with presidents that we had in there.
You mentioned the BSA, may it rest in peace. NDSU, yes. Fargo has moved on. The construction is well underway, looks gorgeous, but I can't let this interview go on without talking to Tim about facilities. Tim, you were in the spotlight this year, locking those doors up. Coach Carter, sending the chains on the door.
Well, let's just rewind here a little bit. I remember talking to a kid from Minnetonka one time in my office at the Bison Sports Arena, and there was 3 people upstairs doing power cleans, and they were banging the weights on my ceiling, basically. And so plaster comes down, right? And literally the dad had like dust plaster in his hair, right? And I said, just so you know, that's a girls' cross-country team. And, and it sounded like it was a herd of bison. But, and now to be in a state-of-the-art, probably top 5 or 10 place in the country when it comes to basketball facilities, it's kind of easy to get lost in the kitchen area, the lounge area, your locker room, your iPad, your this, that, or the other thing. And I just wanted our guys to realize what they had, so they spent 3 weeks getting dressed in the bleachers. And what was funny was at the end, they were spending more time just sitting there talking. And I said, and Saul will be able to remember this from the times he was the Human Victory Cigar. I think he played in like 8 games at Platteville. I think he's the only undefeated college player ever to go through Platteville. He played in 8 games in 4 years. And they were all, you know, these landmark wins, of course. But Saul will tell you, and I'll tell you as a former small college guy, that, you know, these guys are out talking. They were like a deck of cards away from being a real team. You know, they were talking, they were interacting, they were laughing. They weren't on their phones, they weren't on an iPad, they weren't just watching a 100-inch TV or whatever it is. They actually looked like a team. And Saul will tell you, those are some of the greatest memories as a former athlete or a coach on a small level.
I think Tom Miles got it exactly right there. How about the time Miles applied for a job at Mary and they sent him a letter of decline saying, no thanks, Tom Miles. So that tells you about his college career. That's all I'm saying.
But wait, the same day I got my student loan bill that was correct, Tim Miles. So I just knew my role, man. I knew my role.
You made quite an indelible impression on the University of Mary community. That's all I know.
Oh, we certainly know that the state of North Dakota loves you both.
Hey, I have one question for Saul. Is it true that there was a time that you were sitting at the end of the bench and the whole crowd started chanting, "We want Saul, we want Saul," and Bo Ryan meanders down to the end of the bench, squats down in front of you, Saul, and says, "Saul, go over there and find out what they want"?
That did happen. I can verify that, and it was actually it was the only time Bo ever talked to me during my career. So that was a highlight. That was a highlight for me.
Well, guys, we've only got about a minute left here. I want to get your guys' picks. I want to hear what you guys think quickly about NDSU taking on Gonzaga. Of course, why we're here today, NDSU preparing for that matchup. Tim, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Bison in a rout. If Dave doesn't win this thing by double figures, then he's embarrassed the whole thing. So
I'm going to go.
Go ahead, Saul.
I'm going to go a step further. I just can't let this go. We just waltzed in the tournament and won a game last year, and if Dave doesn't do that, I would say, you know, it's time to question a lot of things about the program and about Dave in particular. It's just not that hard. Here's what I want to know is, Miles and I are going to talk to him. I'm going to talk to him about winning an NCAA tournament game, and then I was going to have Miles talk to him about coaching a full NCAA tournament game, but we reviewed the tape, and Miles didn't last the whole game last year, so I'm going to have to talk to him about that too.
Ooh, fighting words.
Here's the deal. I had a lot of family in the crowd. I hadn't seen them for a long time. Hey, I lasted longer than that ref. At least that ref is out of business nowadays, and I'm still coaching.
Well, I think it's karma is what it is. You didn't deserve to be thrown out, so the basketball guys just kind of took